Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. This is me, Answer, once again. I am bringing the Beast, he is bringing the Vampire Counts, and we are fighting against a Bretonnian and Warriors of Chaos army. For Surreal, we have 3 zombies, we have multiple Graveguards, some with great weapons, we have 2 Skeletal Warriors on the flanks, 3 Cairn Wraiths, 2 Necromancers, Heinrich Himmler once again, we have a group of Vargeist, and then a Terrorgeist over here. For me, we have 3 Ungor Spears, 2 Razorgore Herds, a Gore Bull with, 2 potions I think I put on this one, because I only brought one of them. We also have a Minotaur, a generic Beast Lord, a Brave Shaman of the Beasts, which is the Manticore lore. Then we also bringing 3 Bestigore Herds. I've not given them much of a chance yet in multiplayer battles, so I wanted to try and get my main focus of damage for the infantry into those. Then over here we have a small force of the stalking flanks of the Ungor Herds and an Ungor Raider. For the enemy, very kind of like a small lead force over here. We have Kolek Sun Eater leading 2 Giants, 2 Hell Cannons, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. We also have an Exalted Warrior and then a Chaos Sorcerer of Death. For the Bretonnian player, we have 4 Peasant Spears, we have 3 Peasant Bows, King Lewin on his Hippogriff and the Sword of Corone fully outfitted. We have 2 Flying Paladins on the Pegasus, we have 2 Grail Knights and then a Pegasus Knight as well, and then a Damsel over here. So again, both of them kind of brought a smaller, more elite force in this battle. And they are going to be charging us with their flying forces pretty soon. As we're starting to get nailed by, well, kind of get nailed by. Maybe not. As the Hail Cannons miss their shot because they're firing into a forest. So yeah, Surreal really enjoyed the whole regeneration build of the Necromancers and Heinrichs. That's why he brought this one again. But this time, you know, substituting some units out for some Cairn Wraiths instead of the Cryptors, and then getting the Terrorgeists and the Vargeists. And here comes the King, the 2 Pegasus Knights, and... I'm sorry, the 2 Paladins and the 1 Pegasus Knight. The Hell Cannons right now, I believe, are currently aiming for the zombies, just because they were the first ones in range. Pegasus Knights are pretty cool. Oh man, did those get a hit on the Terrorgeist? Nice, solid hit on these Graveguard with great weapons. Holy crap. And then over here, we're going to have a air battle. We have Vargeist, Terrorgeist on the Pegasus Knights, both Paladins and the King. Now, this is a battle that the Vampire Counts are not probably going to win, just judging by the units involved. I drop a Curse of Years, but the King dropped his Sword of Corone ability, and also we have Steady Onslaught and other buffs. I throw in my Manticore from my Brave Shaman to try and even up this fight as much as possible. But, the Vargeist and the Manticore are non-armor piercers. They do have high damage, but the thing is there's a lot of high armor in this battle that we're fighting, so you can kind of see the Vargeists are already almost dead, and my Manticore is going to be taking a lot of damage. The only unit that's really good here against this composition is going to be the Terrorgeist, so I'm just hoping that the Manticore can soak up some damage. Meanwhile, here comes the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and 1 Giant into Surreal's zombies. My flanking force is currently going through the forest, and I want to get them behind the Bretonnian infantry. Yeah, some Cairn Wraiths joining the fight to try and bring down this Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Cairn Wraiths are not the best response to a Shaggoth because they have low armor, and the Cairn Wraiths are mostly armor piercing, and they also have low attack. So, like in this fight, you can see a I'm not trying to talk trash about Surreal, I'm just saying general stuff. So the Cairn Wraith with an 18 melee attack is trying to hit a Dragon Ogre that has a 46 melee defense, but on top of that, its armor is very low, so like the whole thing about the Cairn Wraith is that they have armor piercing. And so it's kinda a little maybe wasteful to go, but just to let you know, in this particular matchup, although there's really not much else for them to fight except for these low armored units, so you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm going to bring in some of these spearmen to try and bring down these great beasts. Meanwhile, the air battle is currently being won in our opponent's favor because the Manticore is about to drop, leaving the Terrorgeist to fight 2 Paladins, the King, and the remaining Pegasus Knights. Now over here, I kind of realized, I don't know if this was what their objective was, but to send only 2 units and leave everything else behind, I was like, why would they do that? Then I looked at this battle, I'm like, wait a minute. Because we're clumping up, and they have 2 Hell Cannons, which excel at destroying clumped up infantry. So after this one shot here, I'm actually going to be pulling my infantry out of this engagement because this is bad. We shouldn't have so many units tied up against these two beasts like this. It makes it such easy targets for the Hell Cannon to just get so many kills. So I'm pulling out our spears, and we're going to be pressing on against the Hell Cannon position over here. Meanwhile, half of Surreal's army is also marching that way as well. Terrorgeist is going to be overwhelmed here pretty shortly by the Air Force. My two Razor Gores are kind of way out in the wings, but they will be brought up here into this area shortly. This force still has not been seen by the enemy quite yet, and again I want to try and put them behind the peasants, which they made this a little harder because they shifted their lines to face Surreal and me, and so they kind of moved this way, and so that means we just have a longer journey because I want to crush these peasant bows. Bows are usually pretty good against a lot of the Beastman units. A lot of the Beastman units don't have very high armor, except for Bestigors. Here we have a Fate of Buna being dropped on a Spearman. I think an odd choice, but I will take it. As Kolek charges in, being chased by the Karen race. Our objective here is just to silence these Hell Cannons, so we have our Gorbul going in. Actually, he's going against the heroes. I'm trying to kill the Sorcerer. My Minotaurs, though, should be coming out of the forest as well, and we should be sniping these Hell Cannons. My stalking force is still getting into position to take out the peasants. Here comes Surreal's forces against the peasant spears waiting for them. Meanwhile, back here, we put this on slow. The Terrorgeist, I believe, just dropped, leaving this Air Force free. And some of these units, I believe, are going to be pulled out to join this fight over here. But the Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth, and the Giant are doing really well at keeping the enemy clumped and getting a lot of kills without taking much damage. All the units here are not really well suited to take these out. And I didn't want my Spearmen getting in there and getting clumped up by the Hell Cannons. Over here, our Beast Lord is going to assist Surreal's fight against the main line of Spearmen as our stalking force is about to charge those peasant bows. Along with my Gorbul, I just ran him past, and he's going to charge into those. Here come the rest of my forces out of the forest, and we're trying to get into the Hell Cannons, which is what our Minotaurs are doing here, as also they get some damage in on those heroes. And then here comes the charge from our Ungor Raiders, our Gorbul, and our Ungor Herds, right into the Bretonnian peasants who are not protected currently. They're going to have a field day with this. Peasant bows are so easy to kill. Here goes the Curse of the Midnight Wind being dropped by myself? No. By Surreal, I guess? I think? Yeah. Grell Knight charge into the sides of these Skeletal Warriors, so they're going to be doing a lot of damage against them. But if a unit is going to take a charge, you'd want it to be a Skeletal Warrior, not a Graveguard. Unfortunately, this Graveguard did also get charged by the Pegasus Knights and the Grell Knights, so they are taking a lot of damage already. You can see they are almost destroyed. One of my Bestigor Herds is coming in the flanks here to deal with the King and the now stable Grell Knights. Meanwhile, in the rest of the battle, these forces are slowly being pulled away, although I think this zombie group, yeah, it's being pulled away. Leaving a Skeletal Warrior and a Graveguard here to continue to fight these two monstrous creatures, keeping them tied up. Over here, we have mostly silenced the Hell Cannons at this point, and we are just trying to bring down Kolek's Sun Eater by surrounding him and killing him. This Giant is just killing some Karen race, apparently. And then over here, of course, we have the main Bretonnian line holding off the Vampire Count's forces as they were charged by those Grell Knights. And you can see the Peasant Bows are now in a full rout. They're not shattered, though, but they are just broken. And we're going to try and get our Razorgore Herds to harass them and also do some root charges. The Bestigors against the Grell Knights. The Bestigor should do okay against the Grell Knight who is not charging them. Here goes the Curse of the Midnight Wind by the enemy Damsel on this group, lowering our melee attack. That Gorbul getting behind the Spearman. This is the Wistian's Wild Form, giving our people in the area added weapon damage and armor, but then the armor kind of gets countered by the Sword of Corone dropped by the King, which is annoying. But, you know, it happens. Another Pegasus Knight charge. Gorbul just diving into those Grell Knights. Razorgores, I believe, here we go. They're charging the Damsel, so I was trying to kill the Damsel here. And then here goes another charge into those routing Bretonnians. And these Spearmen, even though there's a lot of units near them to try and keep them in the fight, they are going to just get routed. They just have so low leadership. Hell Cannons again are destroyed. The enemy Chaos Sorcerer and Exalted Hero taking some damage. And then over here, these units are kind of being wasted at this point. Like, it was a good move initially, but now these two units, I think my enemy is going to forget about them because they're just going to sit here. after this battle is over for a long time. So very good use of them initially to try and halt the charge and get units clumped up, but then they are forgotten about, unfortunately, for the enemy. Over here, we are going to be routing the damsel very quickly with just one group of Razorgore herds, so she is going to be running away. And these group of Ungor raiders, I noticed that Kolek, after he disengaged from this battle, he just sits over here and he's not getting any more orders. He has low armor, so bowfire can do a lot of damage to him, so I'm like, well, before my enemy realizes that Kolek is just standing there, I'm going to try and focus him down with my Ungor raiders. As our Minotaurs keep chasing people off. These Grail Knights are not really cycle charged, so they are kind of not used to their max effectiveness here. The initial charge is very good at destroying the Graveguard group and Skeletal Warriors, but they need to be pulled out and cycle charged to get that charge bonus again. They kind of rely on the charge bonus. So my Bestigors are just kind of slowly bringing them down here. Karen Rice coming in to support. And my Razorgores are going to get a rear charge. They are also armor piercers. Not anti-law. Oh my, you know what? I never noticed that Razorgore's tails just had like a spiked mace at the end. I've never viewed them that close. Interesting. I never noticed that. They got a spiked mace, but over here, another group of Razorgores are trying to rout another group of Peasant Bows. These Ungor herds are going to be coming back down to the main fight after chasing off more Peasant Bows. And for the Grail Knights, you can see we have mostly dispatched them at this point because they were not pulled out of the fight and cycle charged in. So they were just picked off by Bestigors, Graveguard, and all sorts of units. Kolek Sun Eater gets routed off, but then comes back and is very angry at this Ungor Raider for routing him. So he's going to try and get into the middle of those as they were focusing down the enemy Sorcerer over here. This one Giant is still holding off some Spearmen and my Bestigor herd. The Bestigors probably shouldn't be in this engagement, but I did not pull them out. For this mainline engagement, though, we have won the day here. The Bretonnians have been routed off the... well, not off the field, but routed out of here. The Grail Knights are almost completely dead. Kolek here gets intercepted by some Minotaurs to try and prevent him from killing these Ungor Raiders. We're going to try and focus Kolek down. Ooh, man, tossing around a Minotaur is not an easy feat. But if one can do it, it would be Kolek. So now we just got to worry about all the flyers. The two Pegasus Paladins are still alive. King Lewin is still over here. We do rout that General, and there we go. Or the Giant, and Kolek is now dropped by our Minotaurs. Now over here, the Sword of Corona is going to be proccing again, along with Deadly Onslaught and some other buffs. When that happens, I'm just going to disengage from this battle. There was really no reason to stay in there getting debuffed, but that's going to happen soon. Right now, we are focusing on the Sorcerers with the Ungor Raiders again, as this Razorgore herd was just routing different Peasant Spearmen and Bows off the field. There we go. So now the Sword of Corona's dropped. You can see he has Harmonic Convergence from the Damsel who came back from routing. She's over here. And so I'm just going to disengage. I'm just going to be like, no, I'm not going to fight this right now. Because we're going to be taking a lot of damage from the King. So we just pull out of that area. The King is then going to fly up in the air and then go after our Ungor Raiders over here. And there's really not much left of fighting. Here we go. Finally, the Dragon Ogre, Shaggoth, and Giant are going to get pulled back into combat. So our enemy has now realized that these two units have not died and are still in the battle. Meanwhile, over here, my Ungor Raiders are going to serve, well, not as an intentional speed bump, but that's what they are going to be. And they're going to hold them here long enough for my Razorgore herds to get in here. My Ungor Raider, like everything, is going to be piling in to try and keep these units on the ground, while Surreal's army is now dealing with the one remaining Shaggoth and the Giant over here. Still very scary combatants, even though they're the only ones left for the Chaos. Over here, the King does manage to finally get through the Razorgore herd. The Pegasus Knights Paladins don't have as much of a good luck. These Grail Knights come in for one last charge, and they are pushed off again. And we are doing what we can to try and keep the King on the ground. You can see that we just pummeled this Paladin because he can't lift. He can't get through all these units. And he's just getting a lot of free hits here. Kind of same thing with the King. You can see him moving a little bit. So whenever they're just moving and not attacking, it's usually because they're giving orders for movement and to try to get out of there. This Knight, or this Paladin, does finally make it out, unfortunately. But he did take a lot of hits on his way out. And the King is totally surrounded. Gorbul, Minotaurs, and you can see he's trying to get out of here now. And that's when the entire army is going to shatter. Did they bring down the Giant and the Shaggoth? Is that what got it? The giant is still up. Did the Shaggoth die? I think it did. I'm not seeing it here. Maybe that's what procs the total shatter, is the Shaggoth falling. But anyway, good games to my opponents and my ally. It was really, or to Surreal, it was really lucky for us that our opponent forgot a giant and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth in the initial engagement. They did manage to kill some Graveguards, some skeletons, some zombies, maybe a Karen Wraith here and there. But for the most part, they were left just out there on their own, which was amazing for us. So we got lucky there. Let's take a look at the kill counts. Beast Lord was fighting against the Bretonnian Spearman and then the Grail Knights for the most part. He only netted 5 kills. Gorbull, 72, because it's a Gorbull. Ungor Herds did really well at crushing the Bretonnian Peasants. This Bestigor group was the one fighting the Giants, so they kind of just got crushed. The other 2 Bestigors, one did pretty well. The other one, they were mostly armor piercers, so like there wasn't really any infantry for them to just chew through. They had to deal with a bunch of like heavily armored Grail Knights and lowly armored I don't know. I had to bring them some more. Like this wasn't really their ideal engagement in this battle specifically. The Ungor Raiders I thought did pretty good, and the Razorgore Herds just did amazing. I really like the Razorgore Herds. They are like an upgraded version of Chaos or of Warhounds that also are armor piercers and have a bigger mass. So like I think the Razorgore Herds are just really good. And if you're playing against dwarves, you can just spam Razorgore Herds. Their armor piercers are perfect for destroying dwarves. Anyway, then the Minotaurs also did pretty well. For Surreal, this is very good. The Necromancers are not supposed to be in battle. Heinrich only getting 3 kills though. He was probably fighting against Grail Knights, I think. Zombies doing what they do. Skeletons do what they do. Graveguard was shut down by the Grail Knights. Oh, no. That was this one. Was shut down by the Grail Knights. This one, I guess, probably just didn't see as much combat. But yeah, the 2 Graveguard with great weapons got shut down. One was in the fight with the Shaggoth and the Giant. The other one got crushed by Grail Knights just completely. Karen Wraith's getting some kills, but like there wasn't really a lot of people for them to kill in this battle, so it wasn't really their ideal engagement either. Terrorgeist and the Vargeist just getting shut down by the Air Force of the Bretonnians. So strong. Let's see, for Hellwolf here, 113 kills on Kolek, which is pretty good. Exalted Hero 95, which is pretty good. The Giants and the Shaggoth did amazing, and the Hell Cannons did really good. So, I don't know if this was their strategy, but if you throw in a big creature, it's a good chance people will surround it, like what we were doing until I realized what the hell was going on. So if that happens, if you do have Hell Cannons free, you know what, just man them. If you have such a small unit like a force like this, throw a Giant in there, and then manually control the Hell Cannons and manually fire and guide those shots into like the high armor targets that are surrounding your Giants, and you will just destroy. I mean, I guess you don't necessarily have to, I guess, manually fire the Hell Cannons. They may hit on their own, but they're kind of inaccurate. But yeah, again, with the small force here, just give attack orders to like the 3 units you have, and then just fire that Hell Cannon over and over again. I think that's one of the only times I would manually fire a Hell Cannon in a multiplayer battle is if you have such a low amount of force like this. For the Bretonnian, King Lewin did amazing because he's the king. He's just the best, one of the best units in the game. The Paladins, I think, did really good. The Spear Line got crushed pretty quickly, and the Peasants got crushed really quickly by our flank. The Grail Knights, even though they weren't really cycle charged, they still got a ton of kills. Like, that initial charge of them and destroying those Graveguard and the Skeletal Warriors, like, that's what really got them these high amount of kills. But after that, they were kind of thrown away by not being cycle charged. And then the Pegasus Knights also did really good in the air, and they got some decent charges against the ground targets. I don't think there's really anything we need to cover. I mean, we could take a look at the Razorgore Herds, because, like, I don't really look at them that often. Let's see. So for just a couple hundred more, you're getting a pretty high armor piercer unit here that has a really good charge bonus. That's because, like, their melee attack and defense, you can see, is kind of comparable to the Warhounds. You have 26, 24, and then 17 and 14. So they're about the same. But the reason why they're just so cool is that they're high armor piercers with a high charge bonus. They can get in there. They have the mass. Oh, also, I forgot to point out, they also do cause fear. And then they have this self buff on at all times, which gives them even more charge speed and charge bonus. So when they get in there, they're hitting, I guess, theoretically harder with the increased speed. And obviously with the increased charge bonus to their base of 46. So again, the charge bonus is being added to their weapon strength and their melee attack. So I think Razorgores are very solid. And a 50 armor on this, like, monstrous cav. It's pretty cool, considering the Warhounds only have 15. So they can even take a hit from like arrows and just general melee hits from anything. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody. Leave your suggestions below on what you'd like to see, and I will see you all next time. Also, that DLC is around the corner, and it looks pretty cool. If you haven't checked it out yet, check on the Steam page and look at the DLC. It's like $8, and it's going to be giving us more legendary lords for the Empire, for the vampire counts. A lot of whole new units, like unique units, which are just modified base units, but still it's kind of cool. We're getting also some new units on top of that. Looks pretty sweet. I'm pretty pumped to dive in with those new legendary lords. They're going to be pretty awesome, I think. And maybe slightly overpowered, but we'll see. Enjoy your day, everybody. Take care.